Within the bath. Within the bath. Every bath begins with a vision, where ideas and strategies define directions, from the depth of strategic thinking to ever-evolving dynamics of the world. A program broadcast in English brings insight into the journeys that shape the course of individuals, institutions, and nations. Prepared and presented by Mohra bint Zubair Al Zubair and audio director, Warrant Officer Ward bin Salim Al Rawahi.
Assalamu alaikum, dear friends. Welcome back to Within the Path. Last episode, we spoke about information. Information, like the ocean, is vast. It is giving, yet unpredictable and forceful. And it has the power to change everything. Today, we go further. Today, we move into the water, where circumstances instantly change. And this takes us to our topic, intelligence. If information is the ocean, intelligence becomes the craft of navigation. It is the ability to read what surrounds us, reach where we need to go, despite the unpredictability and complexity, and turn that awareness into something useful. Intelligence appears in different forms, depending on the setting and the level of decision. We hear terms like strategic, national, military, business, and financial intelligence. Each serves a different purpose, and they share a common thread, turning information into a product that advances us. Intelligence is information examined, verified, and placed into context so it supports decisions and action. When talking about strategic intelligence, Dr. David James Kritz, Assistant Department Chair of Intelligence Studies and Professor in the School of Security and Global Studies at American Military University, explains that, at its core, it's the ability to anticipate, assess, and respond to complex global threats and improve business performance through informed planning and deliberate action. Dr. Kritz adds a useful structure. Strategic intelligence can be broken down into 3 areas: knowledge, organizations, and activities. So intelligence begins as knowledge, then it becomes a function inside institutions, and then it becomes action. He uses the data, information, knowledge, wisdom pyramid to show how information progresses. And he notes that intelligence belongs in the knowledge tier because it adds context, meaning, and understanding beyond raw facts. And this is where Sherman Kent comes in, through Dr. Kritz's discussion. Kent is widely regarded as a foundational figure in intelligence analysis, and Dr. Kritz highlights Kent's 1949 argument that strategic intelligence forms the foundations of a nation's knowledge or awareness in both war and peace. This is powerful because it shows intelligence as a central pillar of a nation's prosperity. It turns knowledge into progress. It is also a pillar in times of war because it helps leaders navigate uncertainty towards the best possible outcome. The process becomes more visible when Dr. Kritz points to the intelligence cycle: planning and direction, collection, processing, analysis, production, and dissemination, as the disciplined path that takes information and turns it into actionable insight. He also notes 5 primary collection disciplines used in practice: So we have open source intelligence, which draws from public sources like the news, reports, and open data. Geospatial intelligence, which draws from maps and imagery to understand what's happening and where. Human intelligence, which comes through people and direct observation. Measurement and signature intelligence, which relies on measurable technical signatures like heat, sound, or chemical traces. And signals intelligence, which draws from signals, such as communications and electronic emissions. These are different ways of listening to the environment, and together they help analysts build a clearer picture. Our dear friends, stay tuned, and we'll be back right after this break. Our dear friends, welcome back. With all that we've spoken about kept in mind, it becomes clear that work in the field of intelligence, whether strategic, business, or any other area, requires a researcher's mindset. Intelligence at its core is disciplined inquiry. Sherman Kent made a strong argument that intelligence practitioners should carry the qualities, discipline, and training of a researcher, including the ability to test hypotheses with objectivity and impartiality. Here, the human element becomes central. A single set of information can reach two people, and each person can draw a different conclusion. The difference often comes from analytical skills, critical thinking, and awareness. Richards J. Howard Jr. notes that what people perceive and how they process it is, and I quote, strongly influenced by past experience, education, cultural values, and organizational norms. He describes this as seeing the world through a lens, and stronger intelligence grows when analysts understand their own lens as clearly as the information in front of them. This applies to everyday life as well. As people, we interpret situations more clearly when we recognize how our own experiences, education, values, and expectations shape what we notice, how we respond, and how we interact with others. In intelligence work, this idea becomes a discipline. The analyst learns to understand their own lens, so the information in front of them stays as clear as possible, in a way with less personal subjectivity. Moving to technology, it plays an expanded role in how analysis is done. Artificial intelligence can help analysts and people in general move faster through data and get to specific information faster. It can make research more accessible, and it can shorten the time it takes to move from raw material to a clearer picture. It is a tool for time efficiency. Ultimately, the value of intelligence comes from context, verification, and responsibility. That is why the final assessment remains in human hands. People remain responsible for meaning and decisions. What's been made clear from everything we've explored today is that intelligence ultimately rests on people, on the analysts and teams who collect information, filter and evaluate it, and build something meaningful from it. And perhaps what stands out is the ability to read between the lines, whether in national-level decisions, in business, finance, or other fields. Because in every setting, the difference is made by the human mind at work. Thank you for being here. Until next week, this is Mohra Al Zubair from Within the Path.
Within the Path. Within the bath. Every bath begins with a vision, where ideas and strategies define directions, from the depth of strategic thinking to ever-evolving dynamics of the world. A program broadcast in English brings insight into the journeys that shape the course of individuals, institutions, and nations. Prepared and presented by Mohra bint Zubair Al Zubair and audio director, Warrant Officer Ward bin Salim Al Rawahi.